calendar countdown for the pole shift. Since so many predictions from the ZetaTalk.com website have proven correct, like the increase in volcanic activity and earthquakes, increasing in magnitude and frequency, I thought I'd give you their timeline about events that they say are coming. They have been correct even down to predicting which plates will subduct, which land will sink, and which will rise. I favor getting my predictions from the source that has been so successful in the past. We were told that Indonesia would sink 80 feet, and if you look at the images today of Indonesia, it's clear that there is water in the streets, and homes are partially submerged, and kids don't have to go far for a place to swim. They're swimming in the places that used to be streets. So what else was said about the future at this ZetaTalk.com website? They said that Planet X or Nibiru will be visible in the sky for 7 weeks prior to the pole shift. So if you wait until you see Planet X in the sky and then act, you don't lose anything, right? I don't know if this is correct. When Planet X is visible in the sky finally, what do you think the people will do? If there's a mad rush to stock up on food, water, and other necessities, what will that do to supplies? Will they vanish from the store shelves in about 3 hours? If store shelves are vacated in 3 hours, do you think Obama will declare martial law? He's only been dying to do so since he took office, and even before when he spoke about a citizen army funded in the same way as the regular military, hoping to arrange it so that our own people would be killing us. But it seems that he didn't go through with those plans. And now he's signed a few more executive orders and tightened the rope around our necks a little bit more. And now we look up in the sky and we see Planet X, and the people are beginning to panic. So will Obama declare martial law, or will he pass some laws to limit the power of the secret government and restore our freedoms? You have 1 minute to come up with the right answer. Go. You've been given some very strong hints already. The latest executive order by the nation's dictator, we can't call him a president anymore, he has a fake birth certificate, and he says he doesn't need Congress to take us into wars. And the executive orders that he's been signing are totalitarian at best. And it's clear that the United Nations will be making decisions for us, not our own Congress. The latest executive order signed by the dictator Obama states that the government will take over all facilities in the event of a national emergency. And they're using Iran as that emergency. But I'm wondering if there's a real emergency instead of Iran, and Iran is just the cover story. The government always has a cover story for you to believe, and the truth is never told to you directly, but sometimes it's leaked, and this really makes them angry. Because the truth is never supposed to get out about anything. And if you're going to get the truth, it will come from the internet, not government. And so the government is desperately trying to control the media that brings you the truth, the internet. And that truth comes through sites like ZetaTalk.com. Indonesia has sunk 80 feet, just as the Zetas said it would. And if Nibiru or Planet X appears in the sky, there is sure to be panic. People are going to try to stay alive so they can starve to death without food in the grocery stores or gasoline to put in their cars. Nobody has any savings, and money will be worthless when there's so much of it around and there's no supply of food to buy. Very quickly you see the prices on whatever's left on the shelves skyrocket out of reach, and people will at first pull out all their gold and silver, but what good will it be if it takes all of it just to buy enough water for one more day? What do you do when all your gold and silver is gone, and so is your one-day supply of water? If you wait until you see Planet X in the sky, you have probably waited too long, and the fascist Nazi inside job false flag terrorist government said, if you stockpile food, you could be a terrorist, not them. They're stocking the underground facility at the Denver airport while discouraging you from stockpiling food. Why would the government discourage you from stockpiling food? Is there a catastrophe or something coming? Is there something we should know? Why the stockpile of 500,000 caskets which house 3 dead people each? Why did they build all the detention camps with the barbed wire? Why the barbed wire? Are they going to try to keep people inside those FEMA camps? Why? Why did they send Andrew Basiago to the year 2013 to check on the Supreme Court building? When he confirmed that it was indeed underwater with algae growing on the sides, what does that mean? Today is April 2nd, 2012, and 2013 is only 9 months away. I've read that the pole shift will take place about 1 year from today, and this matches what Andrew Basiago reported about the Supreme Court building. Yes, AB went to D.C. Ha! When I heard Andrew Basiago say this, the first thing I did was check the elevation of Washington, D.C. on Google Earth, and I found that the Supreme Court building has an elevation as follows. The corner of 1st Street Northeast and Maryland has an elevation of 85 feet above sea level, and East Capitol Street Southeast and 1st Street Northeast is 88 feet. The back part of the lot is higher, about 90 feet or so. None of the property is higher than 100 feet above sea level. So if we have a pole shift, what would put the Supreme Court building under 100 feet of water? Suppose the new equator runs through Alaska and Antarctica, as depicted in this image posted on the Zeta Talk website. The snow and ice at the South Pole is 2 miles thick. None of that snow and ice has been there very long. None of it is more than 4,000 years old. So the South Pole is new, not ancient, in geological times. Frozen elephants in Siberia were found with tropical grasses in their stomachs. How did they get there? Siberia was once warm. How old were the elephant corpses? 4,000 years. If Siberia and Antarctica were warm just 4,000 years ago, then there must have been a pole shift recently in geological times. So this pole shift thing is not new, is it? It's a natural event like a tornado or a hurricane. Do tornadoes and hurricanes kill people? Sure they do. So does flooding. And can we avoid them? Now you know why government isn't trying to escape a pole shift. If you knew that a tornado was coming in Kansas tomorrow, you'd warn people because Kansas has a limited population and they won't decimate the food and water supplies, no matter how many people from Kansas panic. Some will drive north to avoid the tornado and some will drive west to avoid it, but nobody's going to stick around if a tornado is coming. Now where do you go if the disaster is planet-wide? There's no place to go except a bunker, underground, right? One disturbing question to ask cops is, did you get your ticket to the underground bunker yet? Here you are enforcing the edicts of the slave master, denying the citizens of this country their constitutional rights, and you didn't even get an invitation to hide in the bunkers while Nibiru passes? You know it will be visible in the sky soon. What are you going to do when everyone rushes to the store to buy the last of the water and canned goods and the shelves are vacant? Those people who were denied their rights are angry with you, and now they outnumber you about 2,000 to 1. Are you going to tell them how sorry you are and how much you would appreciate their forgiveness? Maybe you could persuade those underground to let you in by knocking on their doors. You know, they have guards who are instructed to shoot anyone who comes near the entrances of their underground bunkers, and they mean business. There won't be anyone to arrest those guards for being trigger happy, any more than there was anyone to arrest you cops for punching women in the face at Zuccotti Park when you denied citizens their constitutional rights. So they left you out here to fend for yourself after you brutally put down the protests of the people for them, and now there's a panic and you're out here with a uniform on to identify you as the enemy. I hope you survive. I hope they don't set your squad car on fire with hurled bottles of gasoline and rags lit. Police should always respect that the people will eventually retaliate for the deeds of errant officers who disregarded the rights of the people and ignored the Constitution. The LA riots showed that cops hide when there is danger because they don't want to get killed. Cops are okay when there are 20 of them and just one lady in an evening gown like Naomi Wolf, who was handcuffed and taken to a dirty jail cell with feces on the walls. What crime did she commit? She protested the thefts of the Federal Reserve and Wall Street of trillions of dollars, and she went to jail. A lot of us looking at this were very unhappy about it. We saw Dorley Rainey, an 84-year-old activist abused by the police in Seattle. We saw Scott Olson shot in the head by Oakland police, and he almost died. Now the cops are not invited to the underground bunkers of the elite. I guess they can't afford to share their food with the riffraff, and so the cops will just have to make it on their own, won't they? Someone should tell the cops about this. They should tell the military too. Why are you guys fighting in these wars? Did you get your pass to the underground facility? There are only two classes of people, them and all the rest of us. And now you guys realize that from their perspective, you're part of us. They have you put down our protests. That's how they control you and us. You fought the wars, you military guys, and now they're done with you. They left you on the surface to die with the oppressed people while they enjoy all the luxuries and safety of the underground city they built with your tax dollars. Look how it turned out. Heaven is down below and hell is up here on the surface. You can tell the judges that their services won't be needed down below either, because there's nobody to judge except those who are above the law anyway. If judges thought that they ought to get a ticket to the down under, then they better book a flight to Australia, because that's the only down under they're ever going to see. When the judges are too busy to go to the stores to get the last of the survival goods and the necessities and supplies, they will have to do without, because all their help will have abandoned them, and the help will be trying to save their own families. Nibiru is our blessing because it tells those in law enforcement, the military, and the judicial branch who they're working for and how they will be treated when Planet X comes whizzing by and wrecks the Earth. No space in this case. Sorry. Maybe there's another place where the human race is safe. Do you have any friends or relatives who care? Ask them if you dare. So the government took your tax dollars and built themselves a very nice facility so they would be safe. And they decided not to tell you about the coming event, because you will only panic and buy up all the food and water supplies. And they don't want panic situations or competition for their precious water and food supplies. It's better if you buy nothing. Just die. Government won't panic. They have more control than you stupid people who panic all the time when you don't have comfy bunkers to run to for safety and some assurance that your family will survive. Someone on my channel wrote that those bunkers are not safe. They can be crushed as the plates shift. And I wrote back, you really know how to make me happy, don't you? Wouldn't it be nice if those bunkers flood and those in government who took care of themselves and left you out in the cold to fend for yourselves actually drowned in their safe bunkers? A close study of the legislation and the executive orders signed lately speak of a coming disaster. So let's proceed with the chart. For 50 days prior to the pole shift, you will look up into the sky and see Planet X. If you don't see Planet X, don't stock up on food and water, because you don't need it yet. And all this could be a waste of money. Don't keep your car tank full of gasoline, and don't stock up your shelves with emergency food supplies, because if there is a pole shift, it will destroy everything and will be sent back to the dark ages in one day, with no hope of returning to ATMs, gasoline stations, and supermarkets anytime soon. You'll be fishing in a local pond to eat, and you'll be hunting for wild strawberries to eat. Are there any wild strawberries to eat where you live? I'm in the desert. We have cactus. A lot of things are edible in the wild, and if you want to survive, you should know which ones they are and which ones are poisonous. If there is a pole shift, you might be without electricity for 6 months, and that means no cell phones, no internet, no radio, no TV, no gasoline, no air conditioning, and no fans to blow hot air if it's cold, and cold air if it's hot. Dark ages. If you don't know how to survive, you die. NASA is warning its employees. Have you seen the video? When you look up into the sky and you see a planet that isn't supposed to be there, and it's the size of a full moon, you will know that NASA lied to you. And you will know that you didn't read enough about survival. Those spots at the local pond will be taken by those who got there first. You might have to bring your shotgun and take someone else's place so you can survive. And as soon as you do, somebody with a bigger gun will blow you away and take your place, because they want to survive one more day of sweet life, starving to death and without water. Nobody wants to die, and that's why your government built all those bunkers and bought up all the rice, pasta, and canned goods already. Well, life in a bunker isn't all that it's cracked up to be. The cities down there are about 3 cubic miles in size. You might read about them under DUMBS, Deep Underground Military Base. If you're on the surface, you might be better off dead. Because when 300-mile-an-hour winds come, they're going to blow away everything. Just stand up and take the flying debris and check out early. It's better than starving to death or dying of disease or deprivation of the modern conveniences. Do you think ambulances will be running when the winds are 300 miles an hour? Do you think the hospitals will be standing so the ambulance can take you to them when somebody's roof crashes into your forehead and you've got lacerations all over your body? To me, the lucky ones are the ones who perish first. If you never appreciated life before today, maybe you should jump in the car and go down to the ATM, get some cash, and head for the grocery store and the gas station. Fill up your gas tank, buy some canned goods, and dig a hole in the backyard to store them. Put a can opener in there too. Enjoy these conveniences one last time. A lot of people go to the store and they buy canned goods. They put them on the shelves in their cupboards, not understanding that 300-mile-an-hour winds will blow their house away. So when you stock up, make sure you put it in the cupboards. Those goods will come in handy when your house blows away and your canned goods are scattered all over the neighborhood and someone who lost their home stumbles across your food and doesn't have a can opener. Maybe you could tape one can opener to each can, and if the 300-mile-an-hour winds don't break the tape, maybe that starving person can enjoy a can of soup or beans before he or she dies. Life isn't sweet now with a fascist Nazi government, and life will not be sweet in the aftertime either. It will be difficult to survive, and a whole new set of problems will prevail, and you'll be prepared for none of them. Let's take a look at the preview given to Nancy Lieder by the Zetas, because you're certainly not going to get any warning or advice from your fascist government. Disinformation maybe, but no help from those Satan worshippers. Look at the hand signals. Even the Pope is in on it. Look at Sarkozy. They think they're communicating something to one another. What they're really doing is telling the world that they are evil-hearted, selfish, greedy, and they love Satan. These are not service to others type of individuals. If these people perish, are you going to miss them? I promise to cry real hard. Now here's the chart dating back 7 weeks prior to the pole shift. What do you see happening in this trimester? 49 days before the pole shift, the Earth will wobble severely. What does that mean? If you're at sea, it might mean eddies, whirlpools, like a bathtub, draining. On land, it might be that it'll be very windy. And this is just the beginning. 2 magnets in space. One of them has 23 times the mass of the other and is the bully. Clouds are low because our atmosphere is gone, for the most part. And although it will recover from the oceans after Planet X passes, we're going to have little atmosphere for some time. The closest that Planet X will come to the Earth is about 14 million miles. That's close enough to steal our air, but we won't suffocate. There will be enough left to breathe, and plants are putting oxygen into the air all the time. With much of the air gone, the plants will get a lot of sunshine and produce a lot of oxygen for us to breathe. 40 days prior to the pole shift, the Earth will lean. If you're looking at the Earth with the sun in the background and Planet X off to the right, the Earth will lean to the left. Leaning means whatever weather you're supposed to have at that time is out, and a new season is here. The sun is not lining up as it normally does. And if you're supposed to have winter and the sun is not as far away as it should be, then it's going to be warmer. Did we have a mild winter in the northern hemisphere around America? Did India have a bitter cold winter? That's leaning and wobble. We're supposed to have 4.5 days of static leaning. So the pole is not pushed away and then it bounces back. It stays there. Some places will have bitter cold and some places will have warm weather. You could have snow in June if the polar air masses are drawn down to places that are normally much warmer. I think the pole shift is going to occur in early spring, but the government is publicizing December 21st, 2012, using Mayans as the big excuse. Whenever I see anything about the Mayans, I close the page, because there are very few experts on what the Mayans actually said, and so you're relying almost entirely on what government tells you, and government is pushing December 21st. They're pushing it like propaganda, and so I'm pretty sure that that's not the date. And when December 21st turns out to be a dud, nobody will believe the next prediction, which is spring, and that's when they're going to get hit with the pole shift. And when Planet X is visible in the sky, they're going to make up something. They're going to lie to you to keep you out of the stores and keep you from panicking. For 7 weeks, they're going to try to prevent the panic. And when things get really crazy, all government will vanish to their underground bunkers for safety, and they will let things go totally wild up here. 36 days prior to the pole shift, you'll have 2.5 days of progression. What is progression? I don't know. But on your screen right now is Nancy Lieder's website. Just click there and go to that page. Maybe you can figure it out. I can't. I'm looking at this calendar leading up to the pole shift, trying to figure out where I can hide. I didn't get an invitation. Did you? 40 days prior to the pole shift, we have a severe lean to the left. That's away from the object in the sky. It's a static lean. 33 days prior to the pole shift, we have some dark days, 3 of them. Here's a map showing you where it will be dark. And of course, if one side of the earth is dark, the other side is light for 3 days. America will be light. We will enjoy the morning for 3 days straight. No sunset, no noon sky, just morning. That's 33 days prior to the pole shift. The poor Chinese will be in darkness for 3 days. Imagine that. Imagine trying to control 1.5 billion people in the dark during the panic. By this time, all the cowards in government are in their cozy bunkers, and they didn't even say goodbye. It's as if they don't care about a long-term friendship with us. The politicians and the executives of large corporations are drinking champagne and celebrating their survival. Their food storage bunkers are full, and they have enough supplies to last a few years. On the surface, the store shelves are empty and the windows are broken. Everything has been ransacked and the gangs own the streets. Nobody is safe and nobody in the bunkers is concerned about life on the surface. They're busy introducing the rich and famous to those who never met them. And the questions are straight out of the tabloids as the rich and famous finally admit to their deeds that they vehemently denied when millions were paying attention. Services for Satan are held and everyone is in attendance. One might imagine that everyone who has accommodated space is happy, and jokes are made about how the common people were kept in the dark right up to the last minute. Mankind will start over with the genes of only the beautiful people. The useless eaters will be cleared from the earth like garbage at a landfill to make way for the new civilization that will blossom from the ruins of the old in the aftertime. Life is not getting easier for those who survive, with dead everywhere and rotting corpses putting a stench in the air so bad that you can't take a breath without vomiting. 30 days prior to the pole shift, the sun will rise in the west for almost a week, if there is anyone left alive to see it. Nobody will be taking photos or writing anything down to record the event. What for? Survival is more important right now, and finding water is more important for anyone who has gotten to this point. If you think these survivors are angry with the government, you're wrong. They have no news about the bunkers, and they never believed it when they were informed. They called us conspiracy theorists and fear-mongers, and they ignored the increase in sinkholes, bridges collapsing, buildings imploding, and bizarre weather. Even when they saw the object in the sky, they believed what they were told by government and believed that it was a wonderful event, a rare opportunity to see nature at work. Then the store shelves were emptied, the panic set in for everyone, for some realized that it's already too late and no new supplies are coming. 24 days prior to the pole shift, the Earth slows rotation, but who notices? Finding water and food are the desperate endeavors of anyone who remains alive at this point, and the 18 days of slowed rotation is not an important event for anyone above ground or safely protected in the underground bunkers. We are now 1 week before the pole shift, and the Earth rotation has now stopped. And for the next 6 days there will be no rotation at all, as the Earth is locked into the grip of Planet X, and the pole shift is the last phase. When the pole shift occurs, do you think it will matter that the wind is blowing 300 to 400 miles per hour? Anyone who makes it this far will see the high winds as just one more problem to add on top of no food, no water, and no hope for survival on the surface. All the gangs who robbed the people and killed them are now dead themselves. Their bodies are strewn among those they killed, and the robberies and the murders gain little more than a few extra days of suffering. Then the pole shift. The tsunami waves, the destruction of all that civilization is built up over the centuries, and the shores are scraped clean. The waves come in and knock down all the buildings, and then the waves go out to sea and drag all that debris across the land, scraping it clean. What will remain for those who seek the ruins of our civilization some 10,000 years from now? Will they know that we had paper money or ATMs? Our politicians were corrupt and our government made up of fascists and Nazis? The only record of our existence is on the souls of the individuals who committed the crimes against humanity and were blind to the big picture. Maybe then they will realize that life is for the development of the soul, not for acquiring wealth at any cost. And the sacrifices that were made of the lives of the innocent were not only a mistake, but now a permanent scar on the soul of these individuals who thought they were better than others. The perspective changes when the civilization is gone, and all that remains are the deeds of each, and there is nowhere to go to hide from the truth about who they are and what they did with their lives. Okay, I'm going to go to lunch now, so you guys have a nice day. And that truth comes through sites like Zetatalk.com. Indonesia has sunk 80 feet just as the Zetas said it would. And if Nibiru or Planet X appears in the sky, there is sure to be panic. People are going to try to stay alive so they can starve to death without food in the grocery stores or gasoline to put in their cars. Nobody has any savings and money will be worthless when there's so much of it around and there's no supply of food to buy. Very quickly you see the prices on whatever's left on the shelves skyrocket out of reach, and people will at first pull out all their gold and silver, but what good will it be if it takes all of it just to buy enough water for one more day? What do you do when all your gold and silver is gone, and so is your one-day supply of water? If you wait and fund it in the same way as the regular military, hoping to arrange it so that our own people would be killing us. But it seems that he didn't go through with those plans. And now he's signed a few more executive orders and tightened the rope around our necks a little bit more. And now we look up in the sky and we see Planet X, and the people are beginning to panic. So will Obama declare martial law, or will he pass some laws to limit the power of the secret government and restore our freedoms? You have 1 minute to come up with the right answer. Go. You've been given some very strong hints already. The latest executive order by the nation's dictator, we can't call him a president anymore, he has a fake birth certificate, and he says he doesn't need Congress to take us into wars. And the executive orders that he's been signing are totalitarian at best. And it's clear that the United Nations will be making decisions for us, not our own Congress. The latest executive order signed by the dictator Obama states that the government will take over all facilities in the event of a national emergency. And they're using Iran as that emergency. But I'm wondering if there's a real emergency instead of Iran, and Iran is just the cover story. The government always has a cover story for you to believe, and the truth is never told to you directly, but sometimes it's leaked, and this really makes them angry. Because the truth is never supposed to get out about anything. And if you're going to get the truth, it will come from the internet, not government. And so the government is desperately trying to control the media that brings you the truth, the internet, the places that used to be streets. So what else was said about the future at this Zetatalk.com website? They said that Planet X or Nibiru will be visible in the sky for 7 weeks prior to the pole shift. So if you wait until you see Planet X in the sky and then act, you don't lose anything, right? I don't know if this is correct. When Planet X is visible in the sky finally, what do you think the people will do? If there's a mad rush to stock up on food, water, and other necessities, what will that do to supplies? Will they vanish from the store shelves in about 3 hours? If store shelves are vacated in 3 hours, do you think Obama will declare martial law? He's only been dying to do so since he took office, and even before when he spoke about a citizen army. Calendar countdown for the pole shift. Since so many predictions from the Zetatalk.com website have proven correct, like the increase in volcanic activity and earthquakes, increasing in magnitude and frequency, I thought I'd give you their timeline about events that they say are coming. They have been correct even down to predicting which plates will subduct, which land will sink, and which will rise. I favor getting my predictions from the source that has been so successful in the past. We were told that Indonesia would sink 80 feet, and if you look at the images today of Indonesia, it's clear that there is water in the streets and homes are partially submerged, and kids don't have to go far for a place to swim. They're swimming in